Travel writer Paul Theroux once wrote, "The most beautiful places lie at the end of the worst roads." I had arrived in the Maldives, in a figurative sense, at the end of the longest, most remote dirt road on Earth. In a literal sense, I'd come halfway around the world, about as far as one could and still be on this planet. Like so many times before in my quarter century of diving, I'd heard rumors of whale sharks. I'd gotten my hopes up before, and all the rumors turned out to be ghosts. To compensate, I told myself that once I finally saw one, I'd hang up mask and fins and abandon diving forever. I thought that I would have seen it all. And if my dream were to come true, I'd spend the last dive trip of my life soaking in all the beauty the Maldives had to offer. Sublime reefs, psychedelic fish, nirvana-like water. It's amazing how such a beautiful place could exist in such a relative obscurity. Despite the fact that the Maldives' idyllic atolls appear in countless screensavers and calendars, so few Americans have ever heard of the place, let alone could locate it on a globe. This is a luxury destination of grandiose proportions, a water world straight out of the most beautiful travel brochures you've ever seen. It's so far away that depending on schedules, it can take you a couple days to get here from the United States. Europeans and East Asians have been coming here to drop off the map since the early 1970s, when there were only 2 resorts in the entire nation. Now there are about 100. For divers like me, this obscurity means some of the luscious reefs and abundant fish life anywhere, period, end of story. And whale sharks? Apparently they're a dime a dozen here. I liked my odds. I was optimistic. The Indian Ocean was not half empty, but half full. Was I finally going to get what I wanted? I think that I am going to be a virgin no more. And I'm not wearing protection.
My name is Nick Lucy. I'm a diver, and I travel the globe in search of marine encounters, adventure, and a cold beverage. Join me as we go into the drink.
Like other American kids, I grew up thinking that if I dug a hole in the ground deep enough, I could tunnel through to China on the opposite side. In all actuality, and the fact that I'd be vaporized by the Earth's molten core notwithstanding, I would have wound up somewhere in the middle of the Indian Ocean, not far, from a global perspective anyway, from the Maldives. And on most globes, the Maldives appear as little more than a ribbon of tiny dots sprinkled across the sea, extending perfectly north and south, bisecting the equator. Nearly 1,200 islands make up 26 atolls, starting about 250 miles southwest of India. The basic building block of the nation's geography, it's no wonder that the word atoll is also the only native word that's been stolen by the English language. Its 115 square miles of dry land makes it the smallest nation in Asia by area, and the 300,000 residents earns it a last place in population on the continent too. This is Mali, the capital and largest city of the Maldives. It just kind of grows right out of the sea. The average altitude of just under 5 feet makes it the world's lowest country, and it's also the nation with the lowest highest point, at just 7'10". That's about 3 inches taller than the former NBA star Manute Bol. To some, this puts the nation at risk from rising sea levels. With one eye on climate and the environment at all times, this environmentally progressive country has made plans to eliminate or offset all of its greenhouse gas emissions by 2020. This was my second time to the Maldives, my first being in 1998, just after a rise in ocean temperatures caused by El Nino created a massive coral bleaching event, killing 2/3 of the nation's coral reefs. When I came back this time, I was morbidly curious to see if the reefs had rebounded. This was a question mark swimming around in my head as I boarded the Carpe Vita Explorer, a liveaboard dive boat that grants divers the honor of savoring the Maldives reefs from an unparalleled, luxurious floating platform. This is the kind of boat that makes you wonder how the other half dives.
What day is this? I just got on the boat. I was a little late. I was a straggler. I was a little bit tardy in the Maldives, but I've got 52 extra pages in my passport now, so I shouldn't have that problem again for another couple weeks. So I'm very excited to be here. Very excited to see the Krauses.
Get it done. All right, great to be with Nikki.
He's not excited to see us, but that's cool.
No, not at all.
One of the things I love best about our show is that we sometimes roll with a posse, divers who join us on location for shenanigans around the globe. It was good to be back among friends, especially since I almost didn't make it. I was blocked from my original flight, a very rigid yet professional airline staff, insisting I have at least one entirely blank page of my passport, and demanding that I make a last-minute trip to the San Francisco Passport Agency. Oh well, live and learn.
It's been about 13 years since I've been to the Maldives. The last time I was here, they had a very large coral bleaching event, and I think people made a little bit too much out of it. You just kind of encountered a little white piece of coral here and there. It wasn't a big deal, and it was still some of the best diving that I've ever done. So I can't wait to get in, see how it's changed, see if it's as good as I remember it. I mean, you travel halfway around the world to come here, and you got high expectations. So we'll see. We'll see.
The more things change, the more they stay the same. My expectations were high, but my return started swimmingly. This far out in the Indian Ocean, the water's clear as a dream. Huge seems to be the theme here. Everything just seems to be on a larger scale. And speaking of scales, the schools of fish here are enormous too. Case in point, this giant school of bumblebee-colored oriental sweetlips, one of my personal favorites in this part of the world. All around me, life is swirling, pulsating, moving around me in harmony as if it were a single organism. Yep, this place was way better than I remembered. "99% of the Maldives' total area is comprised of ocean, so it comes as no surprise that the vast majority of the nation's fauna live in its surrounding waters. Here, on the completely opposite side of the world from where I'm from, I'm making myself dizzy trying to soak in the circus. Looking at the numbers gives me a clue as to why the archipelago is simply so mind-blowing. Its reefs are home to 1,100 species of fish, 5 species of sea turtle, 21 species of whales and dolphins, 187 species of corals, 400 species of mollusks, and 83 species of echinoderms, which includes starfish and urchins. And while the number of resorts has skyrocketed here over the last 4 decades, the country still only receives about 750,000 visitors each year, 100,000 of which are scuba divers, drawn by the gorgeous reefs and throngs of fish. And out of this number, only 5,000 are Americans. As I soak in all the beauty, I can't help but ask myself why. Maybe it's the vast distances or significant expense it takes to get here. Perhaps it's the touch of xenophobia that some Americans seem to have about traveling halfway around the world to a place where English isn't the first language and the predominant religion is Islam. The more time I spend here, the more I realize that perhaps I shouldn't be too concerned about why the Maldives basks in relative obscurity. I had somehow forgotten just how amazingly pristine this place actually is. And fortunately for me, I've got the whole place to myself. Over the years, I've worked my fair share of lousy jobs. I've pumped gas, waited tables, even picked up cigarette butts. Well, this, dear viewer, isn't one of those lousy gigs. My workplace for this expedition is the luxuriously appointed 125-foot safari yacht called the Carpe Vita Explorer. Yeah, I know. It's a rough job, but somebody's got to do it. Go ahead, admit it. You're jealous. This workplace puts most cubicles to shame. And a person who knows this better than anyone is the vessel's director of operations, who has the enviable task of commuting to work on this dinghy every day. Her name is Agnes Van Linden, and she found time to talk to me about the fact that when you do what you love, you never work a day in your life.
Well, you came here not planning to start a scuba diving operation.
Not at all.
You
no.
had something else in mind.
I had something else in mind, that's true. I was working for the government in official status before. I was based in several countries. And before this, it was always work, work, work for the government. And then tsunami hit in Bangkok when I was stationed there. And I was sent to the worst hit area to identify bodies and to find loved ones. That hit me so hard that I realized how relative and short life is, and up till then I hadn't really enjoyed life. So after Bangkok, I started searching for what it was I really wanted, and I realized that I always wanted my own company. And I love the Maldives. I've been coming here for a long time.
She wanted to own a resort that provided its guests with two unique but very different forms of entertainment: salsa dancing and scuba diving. But the costs involved with starting a resort here were astronomical and put her goal just out of her reach.
So I decided to bring some entertainment for the Maldivian people, started a salsa school in Male, and hoping to network my way around and find a Maldivian that would give me that chance in a hotel. Not knowing that after 2 days after arrival in the Maldives, I gave my job up, everything, left everything behind. The person that I was renting the salsa space from is actually the owner of the first boat we started.
Oh.
He gave me that chance, so that's how I got into business.
Wow.
A born marketer, she explains how some of the best things in life start with the letter S.
When I started the liveaboard business, needed to come up with something new. So I realized that everything that people will be experiencing and doing during their trips starts with the letter S in English, which means enjoying the sun, sea, sand and stars, occasional shower, while seizing the day, carpe diem, or seizing life, carpe vita, scuba diving, swimming, sunbathing, sleeping, sightseeing, salsa dancing. Everything starts with the letter X, and you can come up with a few more, I'm sure.
I'm thinking of a 3-letter word that ends in X.
Like I said, I never have to come up with that one myself.
Yeah. I'm sure that one's been used many times.
A lot, and people come up with a lot of other stuff.
A wise man once told me, we're not here for a long time, we're here for a good time.
That's true.
And it sounds like you're embracing that philosophy.
I'm definitely doing that now, yes.
If the Maldives scuba diving was good enough to make Agnes quit her really cushy government day job and move halfway around the world, I was going to bet that it was good enough for me. You got fish? Check. Loads of them. Clear water? Oh yeah. Fascinating creatures look like they are invented by Tim Burton? You betcha. The waters surrounding the Maldives are like one big wonderful flora and fauna filled soup, and we were diving into it. It's an indulgent custom aboard the Carpe Vita Explorer to go ashore once a week to enjoy a moonlit dinner, replete with whale shark sand sculptures. But it's not simply a meal, it's hopeful foreshadowing. The real purpose of the exercise is to conjure up some good juju with the hopes of encountering whale sharks during that week's dive excursion. It's like a rain dance or a seance, and I'm gonna go along with it. After all, what have I got to lose? After being skunked my whole diving career, it was time for me to finally swim with the world's largest fish. I'm hoping the ceremony will pay off. A boy can dream, can't he?
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
My work here is done, and my fingers and toes are crossed for whale sharks. I've done all I can do, and as dinner winds down, I head back to the boat to get some rest for tomorrow's dive and dream of whale sharks. But first, I'm gonna have a nightcap to take the edge off.
So I'm thinking.
I'm sure something's come to your mind.
Sometimes, when you find yourself trapped on a boat offshore of a Muslim country, you need to make your own fun and invent your own cocktail. I link up with one of my dive expedition teammates, a saucy Spaniard named Pilar, who once tended bar in Ibiza and now works in the healthcare industry in Singapore. She seems to know what she's doing.
So you want dark, you
Yes.
want strong,
Yes.
and you want sweet.
You got it.
So dark is gonna be for coffee.
Perfect. What else are you thinking?
Sweet. Coconut milk.
Coconut milk.
What about that?
It says tropical
Tropic.
island.
Strong.
Okay.
And that's what the tequila's gonna
So we're just gonna have to double up the tequila.
Yeah, we can do that. All right.
Sacrifices we make.
She starts by lining the rim of the glass in syrup and cocoa. 3 shots of tequila get added to the mix, 1 for each of us,
Tres.
and another for the whale
Tres.
sharks.
Very good.
What'd you say, tres?
Tres.
Okay.
With an S. All right.
Next, a little pick-me-up, freshly brewed coffee, and a couple shots of coconut milk to sweeten the deal. As an international man of mystery, I like my drink shaken, not stirred, just like Bond.
We are cooking now.
All right. And I would like to add an extra sweet touch.
Nice touch.
Yeah.
Like it. Like it a lot. I'm wondering how the tequila is going to mix with the coffee, is going to mix with the cream, is going to mix with the chocolate. It's going to be interesting.
I think it's an elegant mix.
I think so too. Just like you. You're an elegant mix.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers to the Maldives,
And to you guys.
to an exciting mix. It's pretty good. I like it.
Sweet.
Yeah. It's sweet, but not too sweet. Gives you a little bit of energy.
This drink might not win any awards, but it'll get the job done in the
Me and
pinch.
you get out of here for life.
And hopefully, bring some good luck and whale sharks my way.
Hi, I'm Nick Lucy.
They found a whale shark.
They did? I've been waiting my entire diving career for this. 24 years of diving. I have never been in the water with a whale shark, okay? And I've always told myself, I don't know why, but it's always popped into my head that if I see a whale shark in the water, my diving career is over. And although I don't want my diving career to be over, there's something about it that makes me feel like my bucket list is complete, even though I know that there's more things that I want to see. In fact, as soon as I see the whale shark, something will pop into my head that I want to see that will, I'm sure, keep me diving forever, but it's just something that I've been waiting for. I feel jinxed. I've been on boats where people have seen it. People in my own dive group have seen whale sharks underwater. But I'm honest to God, I feel like I am cursed. I've been in the right places at the right time and never seen a whale shark in the water. My luck's about to change. I feel it.
Whale shark! Whale shark!
I'm gonna see a whale shark. I'm gonna see a whale shark. Yes. This is the honeymoon right here. I feel like an 8-year-old boy Christmas morning, ready to open those presents.
I'm really excited!
There's one close by here.
What? Hey, here?
It gives you a giddy feeling to be swimming alongside one of these giants. You need to keep reminding yourself that this, in fact, is not a whale, but a shark. Despite their ginormous size, it's ironic how relatively little is known about these creatures. Here's what we do know. They're big, very big. In fact, they're not a whale, but the world's largest fish. The biggest specimen ever recorded was 42 feet long, 23 feet wide, and 24 tons. Their mouths can span up to 5 feet in width and contain 10 filters and between 300 and 350 rows of tiny teeth. Their skin is 4 inches thick. Whale sharks are the largest living non-mammal vertebrate, rivaling many of the dinosaurs in total poundage. They feed primarily, but not exclusively, on plankton, but have been observed feeding on small schools of fish. Despite their size, whale sharks don't pose a threat to humans. Ironically, these gentle giants are targeted by commercial fisheries in some parts of the world. Their populations are unknown, and the species is considered vulnerable by the International Union for Conservation of Nature. They're migratory, and are considered pelagic, meaning they live way offshore. They can dive to depths of nearly a mile. This is one of about 20 destinations worldwide where whale shark sightings are relatively common. I've been to a few such destinations in the past, but always came up short. My diligence had finally paid off. I was swimming with a whale shark, and I was having the time of my life. I spent nearly an hour in the water with this big speckled creature, but it went by in what felt like minutes. It is true, good things come to those who wait. Another dive expedition comes to an end, and I close my logbook until the next adventure. I've got to admit, I'm not a wealthy man, but I am rich with life. I really can't complain about my career path, and if I did, you wouldn't want to hear it anyway. Trapped on a boat halfway around the world, enjoying diving and drinks with friends old and new, in search of the world's largest fish. The diving here was not only better than I remembered it, but better than I thought it could possibly be. I finally found what I'd spent 24 years of my life looking for. A fish that had eluded me for way too long. So yeah, life is good.
This definitely doesn't suck.
What?
Poor shark.
Shark whore.
Hatred, obscenities, blah, blah, blah.
Whale shark, whale shark, whale shark, whale shark.
Well, just to let you know, she said she would hold it.
No, not one of my
I
guests.
said
They
we
started
had one
it.
nude
Yeah.
scene to do, and then you said, I'll do the pole dance.
It's a slippery whatever dance. It's an S, remember?
Slippery slope.
Slippery pole.